The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
as a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Good morning to you, one and all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastics all across the globe. Welcome aboard this Wednesday morning, Wednesday, November number 22nd in the year of our Lord 2017. It is also Freedom Friday Day. Welcome to Freedom Friday. Yes, it is Freedom Friday today because we're not going to be here on Friday. Because it is Turkey Day tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day for most of us. So we'll be doing an open Freedom Friday open mic type of forum this morning. As I know many of you are probably hitting the roads this week, this evening, heading for Grandma's house in the country. That is the good old scenario, American scenario. Everybody's, over the mountains and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. Isn't that what happened with in the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special? Didn't they all go to like grandma's house or something for Thanksgiving? Well, yeah, I'll be heading to grandma's house myself. Well, not my grandmother, my mother, but she is a grandmother. So we'll be heading to grandma's house this Thanksgiving holiday, as I have done for many, many years thus far, and can plan on continuing that tradition for many, many years to come. I know my mother is getting up there in age, but I think she'll be around for a while, God willing. I am definitely hoping so. This is going to be a very interesting and unique holiday season for many Americans, considering that the economy seems to be doing so well. There are a lot of areas of our economy that are doing well, but evidently there is one area of our economy that is possibly not doing so well, and that has nothing to do with with anything that Trump has done, believe it or not. It has everything to do with the fact that we had quite a few forest fires of late, and that has put a pinch and squeeze on some Christmas tree farmers. So they're expecting this year there to be a Christmas tree shortage. Now, I'm not trying to contribute to such a shortage, But if you normally buy a live Christmas tree like I do every year, then you probably don't want to wait until the last possible moment to grab your tree this year. You're going to want to get it a little bit earlier. They also expect prices to be a little bit higher, even at such mega places like Home Depot, Lowe's, and Walmart, who tend to sell an awful lot of Christmas trees. You might do better. Now, this is what some of the so-called experts out there in the network news area have been saying. You might do better to go to your local Christmas tree guy or gal. And I even heard one newscaster say, you probably want, now I'm not agreeing with this, I think you should go to them, but he's saying that you probably should avoid the Boy Scouts. And I know why they're saying that. It isn't because Boy Scouts have more expensive Christmas trees. It's because of, hey, didn't the Boy Scouts just recently decide to let girls in? So that should engender many people on the left to go to the Boy Scouts to buy a Christmas tree. But you should probably go to your local Christmas. You know the guy that usually, well, around here a lot of places have, we have these ice cream stands, but they're only open seasonally in the summer when it's warm, usually from like April to September, maybe October, and they close down, and then for Christmas they open up again. And for selling Christmas trees. Now, this reminds me, a few years ago I had somebody who said, Rod, you should invest in this with me, and we should buy some Christmas trees and sell them. Now, it's probably a good idea, but I don't want to be staying in some little, broken down trailer over the Christmas holidays 24/7. I mean, that's just, some of these people, some of them make a lot of money doing this, and this is part of their annual salary or annual income. So you really might want to help out your local business person by going and buying your Christmas tree early at a local place. And if you're one of those people that waits till the very last day, or even I know that there are people around here that do this too. Christmas Eve. Most of the small, private, independent Christmas tree sellers shut down. But what's ever left in trees is still there, and some people come by and take them up for free, and just take them. There might not be much to choose from this year. If you normally do that, you may be sorely disappointed if you wait, and you'll be forced to run out to Home Depot or some other place that's still open, and will charge you an arm and a leg. But by the way, Christmas trees, real Christmas trees, are environmentally sound. By the way, they're better than the fake Christmas trees. Because what are fake Christmas trees made out of? They're made out of, that nasty goo that comes from the ground that we call oil. So you probably want to go with live, real trees. But I'm being told that there is a issue with the sound. I hope you're hearing it loud and clear, because I don't think it's from my end, but I can try to turn up the volume a little bit, but there's not much room for increasing the volume here. You might want to crank your radio if you're having some difficulties hearing this morning. It's probably just Spreaker again, which is why we're still working on a number of different things. Hopefully all this stuff will be in place by the turn of the new year, where we will be broadcasting and have from our own server and have less issues with other places that we have to pay every month. I don't mind paying for a good service, but by the way, got a story here too. That has nothing to do with Christmas trees. But by the way, we're going to be doing Fast and Furious stuff here today because I got a huge stack in the physical and digital paper pile, and this is the last day of the week for the live broadcast. So we got to try to get through all this, but we may be hamstrung a little bit because we do have the Intel report coming up at in the 10 o'clock hour, and it is going to be a barn burner. So we're going to take some time to go through that dossier and fully explain what is what up with that within the folks. You're going to want to have everybody that you know listen to the dossier report this morning, or the Intel report this morning. The dossier is just it's going to be a barn burner. But now, where was I going? The president pardoned a turkey. Yeah, as the president does every year, but he made a joke about being his White House counsel telling him that he was unable to reverse the pardon from Obama's pardon of last year's turkey. So, who says that Trump doesn't have a sense of humor? The man does have a sense of humor. And now I looking at the video, now I didn't watch the live pardoning, but I have seen tons and tons of people posting the video of it. And again, I got to tell you, I mean, little Barron is not so little. Little 11-year-old is tall. He's going to be tall. Now, for all of you people who question his mental capacity, I'm going to say it by looking at him standing there next to his father and his mother. He did not look like an autistic child. He looked like a typical fidgety 11-year-old boy. But he's also a very shy kid. You know who else, a very famous child, acted a lot like Barron Trump when he was Barron's age. And to a certain degree, he still has that aspect about him now that he's an adult in his 30s. The little prince from England, you know, Harry's older brother. Prince Harry's in the news. I guess he secretly got engaged, and they're expecting a wedding this summer. So if those of you who watch the Royals from England, you might hear that announcement coming soon. But he was also a very shy child. Nobody ever accused him of being autistic, not even to this day. He was very quiet, very shy. He walked and held his head similar to the way Barron Trump does. Now, look, I'm not an expert on autism. I don't know. But I do know boys, because I used to be one. Anybody remember that from Robin Williams' movie, Mrs. Doubtfire? I don't like boys on account I used to be one. So, yeah, I used to be one. Used to be fidgety. Now, I wasn't very shy, but I used to be fidgety. As, 99% of boys are out there. Very fidgety. Can't sit still. So I didn't see, again, I'm not an autistic expert, but I didn't see what they would call the typical signs of autism. So I am glad to see that and it's kind of nice that the Trumps are able to keep him out of the limelight for much of the time that he's in office, much like the Obamas did, much like most presidents with young children do. Well, the Kennedys were a different story. Their little ones were kind of always in the limelight, but most presidential children are kept out of the limelight, and Barron is no exception. I'm glad to see that. But, yeah, you definitely want to go out there and buy yourself a real Christmas tree early, if that is what you normally do. Now, I have never bought a fake tree. I don't ever remember growing up, my parents ever getting a fake tree. Now, I know when they got older and all the kids moved out of the house and we were all grown up, had our own families, for a few years they had a fake tree. Made sense, they were getting older. Didn't want to deal with that. Got it. But growing up, I don't ever remember having a fake tree. Now, I remember my grandparents, one of my grandparents, my father's parents, used to have fake trees. They used to, my grandmother, well, it was actually my father's stepfather. My father's mother passed away when he was very young. So my grandfather was a paternal grandfather was a widower, and he remarried. And my father's stepmother, they bought, remember back in the day when fake trees used to be different colors like silver and pink? Well, she had a white one. I always remember as a kid used to think, I remember my dad saying, don't say anything about the tree. Warning me as a little young one. Instead of going, Grandma, aren't trees supposed to be green? I was warned not to say anything about it. It was one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. I still remember to this day how ugly that thing was. Now, I guess you call her step-Grammy. My step-grandmother has been gone for a few decades now. She passed away in the 80s. But I still remember that thing to this day. It was one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. But it was very, very 50s, 60s stylish. You know, she had the white tree and it had the silver and gold ornaments, the from back in the day. Some of them were glass, some of them were plastic. It was just this gaudy, glitzy thing with this gaudy, glitzy star on top. I always thought it was ugly. She loved it, and I guess that's all that counted. But other than that, my family has never had artificial Christmas trees. We've never bought them. So it's, I don't, now I've had somebody give me an artificial tree, and I still go out and buy real trees. Well, that's because I like the smell. I like but it's tradition. Some traditions are worth keeping, don't you know? So go out early this year, like the day after Thanksgiving. Instead of doing the Black Friday thing and having to fight with people, especially women, at the malls and the Walmart and Target stores with all the barn burner doors, whatever, door buster, whatever they call those things. Go out instead with your family and get a real live tree. You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0 Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
As I was trying to say before we went to the break, and I rudely distracted myself. Yeah, but some people don't catch that. He was rudely interrupted and distracted. No, I did it to myself. Speaking of this whole issue with paying other people to help you broadcast your program, in this world is getting more and more difficult because a lot of the outlets tend to be owned by liberal outlets or liberal owners. Now, as I've mentioned this before, I do believe that Spreaker is actually a German incarnation. It is owned in Germany. Now, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that's where it was started. They could have sold off, like so many others. Like Skype was not originally an American thing. I think it was Sweden or Norway or someplace where Skype started out. Then Microsoft bought it, but so it is no surprise that sometimes we've had issues here. Blog Talk Radio is the same thing. Blog Talk Radio's creator was a big Democrat supporter back in the day when BTR first got started. But there's new evidence of a war on the right from the left. Now remember, these are people that are supposed to be all accepting. Now I'm not talking about your average, John and Jane liberal. This is not and these people are more centrist than they are leftist, believe it or not. They're slightly left of center. But the general population who are leftists, they tend to be somewhat reasonable. Now, yeah, I know just like people on even the slight right, we all tend to stick with a party no matter who the candidate is, which is a bad idea. It doesn't matter what party that you belong to. It's a bad idea to stick with a candidate just because they have a D or an R or something else in front of their name. That's a dumb way to pick a candidate. But we've always been told that liberals are very accepting of different ideas and they're willing to help anybody. Well, you go across the pond a little bit, and anybody remember the hotly and contested French elections not too long ago, especially between Marine Le Pen and the current president Macron, who, by the way, is suffering from some of the lowest French approval ratings in that country's history. Now, they haven't had presidents for a long period of time. France's current government is newer than our country, by the way. For historically speaking, their current style of government is younger than the United States. Just put it in historical perspective. But she's claiming that there are banks run by leftists in France that are closing accounts of right-wingers. And she's even got some proof. And she's filing complaints and probably some lawsuits against some French banks for closing accounts, especially and not giving out loans, redlining right-wing candidates for loans. Basically, and she says she's got proof and she's going to file complaints and sue them. And she's even said that some of her personal banking accounts, not just party accounts, some of her personal accounts have been summarily closed. Now, it kind of sounds like the IRS under the Obama administration, does it not? When you had some less than liberal groups were trying to get some tax-free status. Liberal groups were popping up left and right and were getting tax-free status, where a lot of, especially if they were Tea Party groups or spin-offs from Tea Parties, they were having a very difficult time of getting IRS proof or permission to be tax-free. So there you have it. Banks are even getting in.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told. On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
hold on a second. Yeah, just had to. Yes, just had to relight the stick. For those of you who do not know, I mean, I'm constantly getting new listeners, which I love. People don't realize how much I like cigars. Yeah, I'm not one of those snobby cigar aficionados. You know, all those. You ever go into well, unless you like cigars, you probably have never been into a cigar shop. You ever go into? It's just like you have these intellectual cigar smokers, and frankly, they're not real cigar smokers. Real cigar smokers are not intellectuals. Well, that's not to say that cigar smokers are stupid, because really, we're not. But we don't try to put on airs and sound erudite. It's not like wine snobs. Now I get it. I don't go to a lot of, you know, they have these wine tastings and stuff around here sometimes. I don't go to I did go to them at first for a while when I was first getting into wine, but I stopped going to them because I got sick and tired of listening to these erudite idiots talking about wine. Look, I'm not here to be a sommelier. I don't need to, you know, be able to figure out by a sip, you know, where on this planet the grapes came from to make that wine. I don't need to know that. All I need to know is does it taste good or does it not? And I've also learned that even though some people would have you believe otherwise, price is no indicator of how good a wine is. Just like price is no indicator of how good a cigar stick is. Now, I've had some really good, you know, $5 sticks, and I've had a couple of pretty bad $25 and $30 sticks. I'm serious. I would never buy those. And no, wine doesn't come from a farm. It comes from a vineyard. That's where we get vino from. But yeah, they got pigs and stuff out there fertilizing the vines, the grapevines. Now, I just don't get into snobbery. I don't care what it is. And it really just shows your ignorance and your lack of confidence, because you feel like you've got to be smarter than the next person and show off your knowledge. Now, again, I'm not a sommelier. I don't claim to be a very knowledgeable as far as, you know, sommelier world is concerned about wine. But I am an aficionado, and I know what I like and I know what I don't like, and I don't care what somebody else says. You know, well, this is a 1962 Lafite Rothschild Poupou Pompon. If it tastes like crap, I don't care where it came from. It tastes like crap. So I've had some really expensive bottles of wine that tasted like crap. And some cheap, you know, there is, especially if you go to like places like Trader Joe's. You can get some really good, inexpensive bottles of wine at Trader Joe's. We don't have one. I got to travel here in order to get to a Trader Joe's. We don't have one close by. So I don't often get to go down there. But, yeah, it's you don't have to. So this year when you're going to the Thanksgiving and you want to grab some wine, if you live near a Trader Joe's, it's hard to go wrong by going into Trader Joe's and buying just about any of the bottles. And you don't have to get the French ones either. They have French and Spanish. And there are some, and actually, there have been a couple of labels that I've recognized from my travels to Paris. Yes, I travel in such erudite circles that I've gone to Paris. And have had real French wine from a real French grocery store in real French wine glasses. So, but that's what these people sound like. Yes, well, this is such a delectable wine. The bouquet and the aromas and the flavors and the poo poo papa, whatever. I just doesn't do it for me. In any case, getting off track here. NFL this weekend. Well, tomorrow's Turkey Day. It's going to be football day. Still for a lot of Americans, there's still a lot of people that are still watching and following the NFL. The NFL owners think that they have come up with an answer for this anthem protest next season. And if you haven't seen the tweet by the president, he thoroughly trashed this idea. The owners say that one of the fixes to this problem is they could institute a policy where teams stay in the locker room during the anthem. Now, it comes on the heels of one of the networks, I think it was ESPN, that has decided that one of the fixes could be that we just don't show the anthem. So in other words, we get another couple of minutes of bombastic thoughts from some of these stupid and idiotic sportscasters. If it's their television network, they can do what they want, but it's a stupid idea. Just as keeping the players in the locker room during the anthem is a. Do you think people are not going to notice that? Is that better than watching them? That's the same thing as watching them kneel. Well, remember the brouhaha that the Steelers went through when they tried to do that? I know one of their players actually exited the tunnel a little bit, where he was the only one spotted standing for the anthem. But that's just as bad as kneeling, if not worse, actually. It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't get at the root of the problem that these players think that why they have the opportunity to do such a thing. It's still politicizing. You want to stop politicizing football? Yeah, I would like for them to do that. But you want to stop politicizing football? Then football is an American tradition. So you do what's next? Are they going to stop the military jet flybys or flyovers? Are they going to stop? Sometimes they do the jumps, the parachutes into the stadium. Are they going to stop that? Are they going to stop flying the American flag in order to appease some people? Look, the people that these players are marketing to, if you will, don't even watch football. Not only do they not watch it, they're the ones out there screaming the loudest that we need to end football because of the brain injuries that some of these players are getting. There's another report out that came out last week, and I didn't report on it, about what's his face from the Patriots, talking about his brain scans and dissection after he committed suicide in prison. And that this disease was worse than they previously thought. Which begs the question, well, how did it get so bad so fast in him? He wasn't a professional football player for very long. Well, of course they're now going after Pop Warner and high school and middle school football, and programs even in the football belt, big football states like Ohio and down through the Rust and Bible Belt areas. You got places in Texas, Ohio, I think Kentucky, Nebraska. High schools have multi-million-dollar stadiums where they have Friday night lights, man. They have multi-million-dollar stadiums that high schoolers play football in, because football is big in high school in some of these states. They're even noticing a decline in football participation because parents, probably mothers, are preventing their little Jack and Johnny from playing football for fear that they will, end up with a concussion or brain problems in life or later in life. Well, it is what it is, folks. So this is how the NFL owners are. I don't know if Jerry Jones is going to go along with this. So the well overpaid commissioner, Mr. Goodell, has come up with the idea of just keeping the players in the locker room during the anthem, and that will fix the NFL's problem. Are you kidding me? It's not gonna work. But if you want to go liberal with this kind of stuff, you're not going to be able to tell these people anything. Here's a story that hits a little bit closer to home for me, because I have some good friends and relatives, immediate family members, who are teachers. And I have heard stories about similar to this happening to some of them. Well, evidently, it is reached a headwater, if you will, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Yes, Pennsylvania's capital. Harrisburg is a rather liberal enclave in an otherwise, it's a very blue city in an otherwise very red state. Now, Pittsburgh is pretty pink or purple. In Philadelphia and Harrisburg tend to be very blue. They're very liberal, which is why Pennsylvania itself is a purple state. But here's a problem in very liberal Harrisburg. Teachers in Pennsylvania's capital city of Harrisburg are asking for support after a series of violent altercations with teachers. And this has led to multiple teacher resignations. If you are a recent college grad with an educational degree, you might want to head to Harrisburg if you can put up with the violent students, because there are some openings. Because teachers are dropping out of Harrisburg School District left and right, according to this story from CBS Local in Harrisburg. Even now, don't think that you can go to the younger grades. Evidently, there was a teacher who was a teacher of first graders, and she quit because she got tired of being physically abused by her first graders. Kicked and slapped. Now, I wonder if you can slap a first grader with sexual harassment charges. I probably can. But a first grade teacher, Amanda Schaefer, Sheaffer, says that she has been hit and kicked by her first grade students. First graders. We're talking 6 and 7 years old. Do we need to put a muzzle and a leash on students now? Do we need to chain them to their desk? I mean, what are the parents doing about this? Well, obviously not enough, because she is among 45 teachers in the Harrisburg School District that have quit since July. 45 teachers, minimum, and they're saying is more. And by the time that the kids come back from school, their Christmas break, that they expect at least another dozen or so to not come back. Now, believe it or not, in some districts, you can reach your retirement, whatever, at the first of the year. You don't have to be there the full time. Great for school. Nobody else can do this. Great for school, public employees, I guess. So, let's put it this way. If you were hired, say, in December to be a teacher, in some school districts, December of, say, the year 2000, you could actually retire with 20 years on January 1, 2020. It's not a full 20 years, in most people's math, but in some school districts, that is a full 20 years. And so whatever pensions or whatever that you have available to you at 20 years, you would get it on January 1. And this is what they're expecting to happen as more teachers opt out on January 1st. So again, if you're a teacher, if you can put up with violent first graders all the way up to high schoolers, then you probably will get a position. When are we actually going to bring back some discipline?
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
There is a little bit of sadness in the world today, as it has been reported that David Cassidy, the 70s teen heartthrob, has passed away at the age of 67. Yes, David Cassidy has he passed away among his close family members, and he had been suffering for some time from some multiple health issues, including, I guess, massive arthritis and the early signs of dementia. And he talked about his, when he first was diagnosed with it, he talked about his dementia and how his arthritis made it very difficult to continue playing his guitar. Now, typical 70s heartthrob here. Now, I know there are a lot of people, well, some people remember him from the Partridge Family. He was Keith Partridge. And some of them also remember him because of his baby half-brother, Sean Cassidy. Yeah, he was, there was a Wasn't he in the Hardy Boys? Wasn't there a TV show with like Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys or something? I think he was one of them. But in any case, it's David Cassidy. His fans are in mourning this morning as they hear the announcement that he has passed away at the age of 67. For those of you who follow stuff overseas, Ratko Mladic, also known as the Butcher of Bosnia, has been found guilty of genocide by a UN court. Now, I don't know what that means. Is the UN going to jail him? Is the UN going to execute him? I don't know. What a waste of time that is if they can't do anything. They can't enforce a decision like that. But anyway, the Butcher of Bosnia has been found guilty by a UN court. Now, there's one thing that we do know, at least that we know so far, is that neither David Cassidy nor Ratko has been accused of sexual misconduct. Now, we may find out later that Ratko was, but nobody's come forward accusing David Cassidy of any such thing. But we do have another woman coming forward accusing Representative John Conyers of sexual harassment. Another one. Now, this seems to happen as soon as one woman or person, as soon as one, well, I mean, it could be men have been harassed too, but as soon as one person comes forward, it seems like in many cases now, the floodgates open and more people come forward. So there's another woman who is accusing Representative John Conyers of sexual harassment and misconduct, and she's a former scheduler in Conyers' scheduler? Isn't that a secretary? Is there somebody that just schedules somebody? Man, I want a job like that then. If all I got to do is just schedule people? Well, anyway. She's a former scheduler in Conyers' office. Evidently, she attempted to file a lawsuit, according to BuzzFeed here. She attempted to file a lawsuit against him, but abandoned the lawsuit when the judge refused to seal the case. Well, she didn't want people to know that she was suing the representative? I think there's more to this one than is being told, because we know that there are a lot of now it's up to $17 million that slush fund from Congress paying out to most of them women who've accused congressional people, elected officials, of sexual harassment and misconduct. Yeah, $17 million now, and we the people who are the boss don't get to know who those representatives and senators were or are. And this is going back, I guess this is going back some 20 years. So, and Conyers has been in office for decades now. So who knows how far back this could be, like another Harvey Weinstein thing. This is also the same guy, remember, who had tax problems because he failed to disclose some income. Really? These people still getting away with this stuff? Intel report next.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not.
It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound.
It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance, in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Here it is, hour number 2 in the fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio right here on the Rod Eccles Show via Zinc Media Arts. Thank you all for being here on this Wednesday, Hump Day, November number 22 in the year of our Lord 2017. It is Turkey Day Eve, and many of you will be hitting the road this afternoon and this evening. Do drive safely. They are expecting, because the economy is up. I know this is Trump's fault, too. There's going to be more pollution in the air, and the environmentalist wackos are going to be all up in arms because there's more people driving. And a lot of these people will be driving those big-ass trucks and those big-ass SUVs and those big-ass minivans going to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving tomorrow. The AAA is expecting a record number of people traveling this week. At least the biggest number in 12 years. So highways are going to be, I would suggest that you get an earlier start rather than later, unless you are a late night driver like I tend to do sometimes. If you travel late at night, and me late means you hit the highway, it's after 9 p.m., and you arrive at your destination at 1 or 2 in the morning. You might find yourself not in traffic jams. But if you're here in the Northeast and you're trying to get out, Massachusetts highways, especially the Mass Pike, which is Route 90, Interstate 90, that is always a jam mess. So you're definitely going to want to, especially around the Worcester area, the I-89 interchange going into Connecticut, and just in the area around Springfield going west. You're going to want to get out early. Just saying. And by the way, if you haven't checked out the new page on rodeccles.net, you're going to want to check it out. It is the exhaustive list of those accused of sexual harassment, assault, misconduct, what have you. And these are the more powerful players in our country. It does not include the plethora of probably another dozens and dozens of local and state level power brokers. There are 2 state representatives in Minnesota, I just heard, one's a Democrat and one's a Republican. They're going to resign by December 1st due to sexual harassment charges. They're state senators and state representatives. So the list doesn't include them. That would, the way things are going, that would be a list of hundreds of names. As it is, the rich and powerful that are nationally known and internationally known, that list is getting close to 100. I'm not kidding. And that list will be updated daily. So you probably want to check that out. In any case, it is right now, we have to get on to it. Bring on Agent 0010 for this week's Intel Report. And to make things a little bit easier, we've decided that we're going to start giving these reports a dossier name. So when we start posting these on the website, they'll be searchable, easier to search out. Good morning, Agent. How are you?
Good morning, Rod. How you doing?
Good. I am blessed and highly favored, as usual.
And grooviness, as usual.
So, without further ado, what are we naming this dossier?
We're going to call it the Scythius explanation.
The Scythius?
Yeah, Scythius.
Oh, Scythius. Okay.
Yep.
Can you spell that?
Sure. Cfius.
Okay.
All right. Now, to get right into it. Now, we've all heard about what's going on with the Scythius panel because it's connected to the Uranium-1 situation that so many people are demanding an investigation of some kind by someone to figure out what the hell went on between Uranium-1 and Scythius. Now, for those that don't know, Scythius is short for Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States. That is what Scythius stands for. Now, the function of Scythius is basically anybody that wants to, any foreign company, any foreign power that wants to invest in a company in the United States, it has to be reviewed by Scythius first and foremost. Now, I went on the net looking for information on Scythius, how they function, how they work, so on and so forth. And I found almost nothing. Everything that I found, you can basically hear on the news. Until I decided I'm venturing where no man and no woman should venture. I went into the dark net. And it took me less than 10 minutes, and I found what I was looking for. Now, I found a report that was filed by the Organization for International Investment. And the OII, or Organization for International Investment, is based in Washington, D.C., and it is a trade association representing the interest of U.S. subsidiaries of overseas corporations. Example, Toyota, Japan, Toyota factory in Detroit. They represent the trade for Toyota to have that factory in Detroit. That's basically a rough but best way to explain exactly how they work. Well, the OII, they basically created a report on Scythius and how it works. And they created this report so they can give it to these international investments or investors from foreign countries. Now, we keep hearing on how, Scythius is a 9-member panel. Mostly true. It is mostly true. Now, who is on this 9-member panel? The chairperson is from the Department of Treasury. Then you have the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Commerce, Department of Defense, Department of State, Department of Energy, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative, and Office of Science and Technology Policy. But what we don't hear in the news or anywhere else is that there are 2 other members of this board, but they are non-voting members. They don't vote on anything that goes on in the Scythius situation. They just advise. And the non-voting members come from Office of the Director of National Intelligence and Office from the Secretary of Department of Labor. Now, we don't hear that on the news, but these 2 individuals that come from these 2 departments are mostly advisors. They give their input, but they can't vote on yay or nay. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at a report that, ladies and gentlemen, I am posting on my Twitter account, which is, just look for CS Walker or at Kane_DE_Madrid. And I'm posting this report right Now, it is now posted on my Twitter feed. It is right there for anybody to read for themselves. Now, as I'm reading this report, as you go down the explanation of how CFIUS works, if you go down to the 4th paragraph, it says, CFIUS may investigate and approve a covered transaction, basically something within their own jurisdiction, including with conditions to mitigate a threat to the United States national security. Fine. That sounds fantastic. Then we go on to the sentence after that. Only the president retains the ultimate authority under the statute to prohibit or unwind a transaction where there is credible evidence that the transaction threatens to impair U.S. national security and the threat cannot be adequately mitigated. Why is this important? Why is this standing out in my eyes or in my mind? Because now we're going to go back and we're going to listen to all these reports about this supposed informant who says that the president knew about this since 2009, when the Uranium One deal happened in 2010. That's kind of odd. Now, let's look back again to the list of departments that are in there. And let's go straight to the Department of State, or the State Department. Now, in the State Department, in the CFIUS panels, it's not the actual directors. So guess what? All these individuals that are protecting Hillary Clinton saying, well, she wasn't even at the meetings. You're absolutely right. James B. Steinberg, who was the second in command during the Uranium One deal, was at these meetings. Mr. Steinberg came into the State Department in 2009. Uranium One happened in 2010. Mind you, he left in 2011. That has got to be one of the shortest stints ever for somebody working for the State Department. Hillary Clinton went in there in 2009, 2008, 2009, and didn't leave until 2013. This guy was there for just a little over 2 years.
So he was. It appears that he was there just to get the Uranium One deal passed, which means this was in the works.
Or he didn't like the Uranium One deal, didn't like what was going on, and said, "You know what? I'm done. I quit."
Okay.
Because he left to go teach. You go from deputy director of the State Department to being a teacher. There's something.
A college professor?
That's a big step down. Yeah, university professor. That's a big step down. That is a huge step down. Let's face that. Now, things are going to get a little hazy here. But if you keep up, just follow me. It will make complete and total sense. Now, if this informant is absolutely correct that the President of the United States, one Barack Hussein Obama, knew that the Russians were trying to corner the market or control the market as much as they could on energy, which HEU, which is the initials for highly enriched uranium, is an energy source. The president supposedly already knew about this. Bear that in mind. Keep that in mind, please. Now, if you turn around, and first of all, the Russians getting our uranium is not a threat to our national security. Now, to basically explain a little bit more about that, if you go to page 2 and you go to the 3rd paragraph where it's titled National Security Considerations, get ready for this one. I hope everybody's sitting down because this blew my wig back. While neither the statute nor the regulations precisely define national security. How can you not precisely define national security? Can someone enlighten me on that one, please? Because that kind of like, when I first read that, I'm like, say what?
Well, that's pretty typical of the left in the Obama administration.
Hang on to this one. There are certain statutorial enumerated factors that CFIUS must consider when reviewing a covered transaction. I guess Russia doesn't fall under that, now do they? That's rather, I don't know, weird.
Well, now, that's part of resetting the relations button with Putin and the Russians, right? Giving them our uranium.
No, that's basically resetting the button to stupidity by giving them our uranium. That's pure stupidity. Now, go to the third page. And on the third page, the beginning of it sounds really up to par. And it says, foreign government-controlled transactions are subject to greater scrutiny by CFIUS and FINZA, created at statutory presumption that notices involving foreign government ownership will proceed to the 45-day investigation phase. That sounds good, doesn't it, Rod? We're going to investigate this for 45 days, basically a month and a half. But then there's the word that just tears everything apart. Here is the loophole I have been trying to talk about. And the first word is the word unless senior level officials, the Secretary or Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, and an equivalent official at another designated lead agency within CFIUS, i.e., the State Department, determine that the proposed transaction will not impair national security for those acquisitions by state-owned companies that reach the investigative stage. The law requires an assessment of the foreign country's compliance with U.S. and multilateral counter-terrorism, non-proliferation, and export control regimes. Basically, if we give you this stuff, are terrorists going to get involved? If we give you this stuff, are you going to use it for bad things? Oh, no. We're going to use it for energy. That is all, for energy. Because that's what uranium can also do. It can also power a energy facility. So basically, if somebody within the board, such as the State Department, turns around and says, oh, no, it's all good, they're all right, then that 45-day investigation no longer exists. There is no investigation. There is no trying to figure out what's going on and who's involved with the Uranium One company.
Because now they say that there's no national security risk, so there's no need to investigate.
Exactly. Now,
because it's just being used. Now, we have to understand, this is also coming from a group of people, and when I say group of people, not just the Obama administration, but all of their left-wing environmentalist wacko nut jobs who claim that, like oil, nuclear energy is bad for the entire planet. So if they're trying to shut, and we haven't had nuclear facilities, and a new nuclear facility on the drawing board or built in this country in decades. I think we're in the process of building one new one now, but we haven't done it for decades. So, and we're in the process of shutting down some of the older ones now, facilities now. So why would Obama want to give away something that him and his ilk, his minions, don't like to begin with? Why not just shut down all the mining and say, well, we're going to get rid of nukes around the world, so why do we need to mine more uranium to make that's going to be used for more nukes? This is not about
this
energy, is it?
No, and I will explain this to you in about 2 minutes.
Okay, well, hold on to that thought. We'll get to that. We'll give you plenty of time to get through that after the break. It's already at the break. Man, fast. This program just goes by fast. Can you hold on?
Not a problem.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
You know, at this particular point, I would be playing some Thanksgiving music, but there isn't really much out there as far as... I think there's maybe one Thanksgiving song. Isn't that done by Adam Sandler, years and years ago? But I got to tell you, more than thankful here that we have Agent 0010 who's able to and generously give us these intel reports on a weekly basis. And he never fails to, blow our minds here with some of this stuff that he is able to uncover and bring to the table here. He never fails to disappoint. This is one of those times. So if you have friends who aren't tuning in yet that are into this kind of stuff, or even if they're not, everybody needs to know about what the hell is going on with this Uranium One thing. And how the Clintons were involved and how the Obamas were involved. I am sure that if we actually did a real investigation on this stuff and have a real, let the FBI do their job, this would... you think the sex scandal right now is blowing up? Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine if we actually were to find out the truth, put out those firewalls and get to the truth of this stuff with the Clintons and the Obamas now? I mean, this is insanity.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within. Over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late, we stay informed, we invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
And welcome back as we continue on here with the CFIUS dossier report from Agent 0010. Let us fix that sound noise. What was that? Any feedback? We're talking about this wonderful CFIUS dossier and how it's talking about the Uranium-1 deal. Who was all involved, who was possibly involved, who probably was involved, and how it all relates to what's going on now. How many people were getting money off of this is a big question. Because there is no other reason to sell off our uranium. Yeah, great. So we don't want to build any more nuclear power plants, and we don't want to build any more nuclear bombs, and we don't want anybody else to build any nuclear bombs. So why would you sell off the one item that is required to build a nuclear power plant, which you don't want, or nuclear bombs, which you don't want? Why would you sell it off unless somebody was making a boatload of money off of this deal? And evidently, those who make the boatload of money, they're doing so at our detriment. You want to talk about. Does this not raise the specter of the possibility of more of this material ending up in the wrong hands, say like ISIS or other terrorist groups, and actually committing a terrorist act with a dirty or even a clean nuclear bomb?
God, yes. Oh, God, yes. Let's put it like this. Russia gets most of its uranium from Kazakhstan. They're in full control of that process there. But it is well known within not just the political world, not just within the scientific world, but it's also known basically worldwide in the trade world or the business world that their uranium is not as highly enriched as American uranium because of the process that the Americans go through or the process that is used by the Americans. So the more highly enriched, the cleaner the energy, the cleaner or the better it is, the more it lasts. And for the most part, as safe as it can be, considering that it's radioactive, it's stable. It's much more stable. And that's one of the things that happened with Chernobyl in the Ukraine. No, ladies and gentlemen, Chernobyl was not in Russia. Chernobyl happened in the Ukraine. Just want to make that perfectly, because most people seem to think that Chernobyl happened in Russia. No. The guinea pigs were the Ukrainians, yet again. Now, it could very easily land in the hands of a terrorist organization because don't forget, one of the allies that the Russians have is Iran. And who does Iran support? Anybody against the West. Cut and dry. If you're against the West, hey, you're a friend of Iran's. Oh, and let's not forget, if you're also against Israel, you're a friend of Iran's. Now, the whole CFIUS thing, now, as I said, they can bypass the entire 45-day investigation by somebody just saying, oh, no, it's good. It's done. Hey, it's me. It's me, man. It's good. And basically, the chairman of the CFIUS board will just simply say, okay. Now, after it's done with CFIUS, it goes to the President of the United States. And the presidential review has to be done within 15 days. Not months, not weeks, days. So basically, the president has 2 weeks to figure out if that's okay with him. But when you have somebody that walks up to you and says, hey, here's the situation. It's only 20%. We keep our 80%. We're still ahead of the game there. Never mind the rest that they're getting from Kazakhstan. And it's only 20%. Not to mention, it'll help us with them chiming in and helping against, and here it is, get ready, ladies and gentlemen, ISIS. Oh, and Al-Qaeda. Because let's not forget one very important thing. For some ungodly reason, the previous administration had this thing with surrogate fighters. if you were a surrogate, like let's say ISIS, because I told you before, Rod, I sent out a report that there's no way in hell that we can align ourselves with ISIS because they don't want the downfall of Al-Qaeda. They want the downfall of the West. And for some ungodly reason, the administration thought that I was full of crap. So they aligned themselves with ISIS, not in Iraq, but al-Nusra, which is ISIS in Syria. So they aligned themselves with ISIS in Syria to take down the Assad regime in Syria. So for some reason, the previous administration had this love affair with having surrogate fighters. Okay, so we messed up with ISIS. Let's get somebody else to fight ISIS for us. Let's convince the Russians. Yeah, you know what? If we give them 20% of our uranium, they'll go into Syria and kick that ISIS butt for us. Let's take a look at something. When did Russia go into Syria to take on ISIS? Oh yeah, 2011, 2012, right after the deal with Uranium One went through. That's when they decided to go into Syria with forces and take on ISIS. Now, that being said and done, who had to convince him to do this? Somebody who got her husband to give a speech for $500,000 and somebody who got $125 million for her foundation.
Was it that much money that went to the Clinton Foundation? Well, of course, they skimmed off most of that. Now, getting back to something you said about the 20% versus 80%, we're not talking about divvying up stock in a company here. We're talking about uranium. It doesn't take much to do damage. So giving somebody an enemy state, and let's face it, Russia is still pretty much an enemy state of the USA. Giving an enemy state 20% more than they had before of an item that can do damage to us and our allies. How and even if it's just for money, how in anybody's mind did that make sense? Even if you were trying to convince Putin to go into Syria and fight ISIS. Now we have to understand that Russia also had their own problems with terrorist activity growing in Russia. Do you think Putin would have taken action anyway?
No, because all that does is, by Putin going against the Chechens, which is one of the rebel forces that are against him because they are also a terrorist organization, by him taking on the Chechens, he's also saying, look at this, I'm fighting terrorists even in my own home country, and I'm willing to go to Syria and fight terrorists there. So terrorism is everywhere, and we're a big part of this, and that's just giving him more support and more proof that he's a quote-unquote good guy.
But so he would have done, well, maybe he wouldn't have gone into Syria, but he was fighting terrorism without getting our uranium, without getting that kind of a deal. So what benefit, I mean, honestly, what benefit do you think that the Obama administration or in the Clinton State Department, what benefit other than just gaining financially out of this do you think that they saw by basically giving away? There's not enough money in the world that the Russians could pay legitimately to be able to gain 20% of our uranium reserves. But what benefit is there?
First of all, let's go with the Clintons. As far as there's not enough money, obviously there is $125 million. Now, let's also take a look at something. They don't give a rat's fuzzy butt about you, me, or anybody else in this country. It's all about their wallet. Let's make that perfectly clear and straight out honest. Again, they don't give a rat's fuzzy butt about us. Second of all, Obama, the only thing he cared about for 8 years was his damn legacy. And one of the aspects of his legacy was no American boots on the ground. Let's remember something very important. There was a time in this country's history, like the previous 8 years, where if an American wanted to go to Syria or the Middle East to fight against ISIS, they would capture you, arrest you, and detain you, arrest you, and put you away until your trial. Americans were volunteering to go to Syria, to go to Iraq, and sign up with the Kurdish Peshmerga and fight against ISIS. And the Obama administration made it illegal. They were trying to fight against a terrorist organization in a foreign country, similar to what the French Foreign Legion does for France, and kill and try to put down this terrorist organization with an army, and the American administration made it illegal because it went against the Obama's legacy. It's always about that damn legacy. If you do the right thing from the word go, and if you protect the American citizens from the word go, then the legacy writes itself. But he was trying to write the legacy instead of allowing it to write itself. That has always been his number one thing. That nothing else mattered to him but the legacy. As far as the Clintons were concerned, the only thing that mattered was the money. And in the whole process, guess what? They had accomplices, people that allowed these things to happen, such as Eric Holder. He was Department of Justice. He had the legal and moral obligation to challenge the legality behind this whole thing. Jay Johnson, Mr. Jay Johnson, who was, at the time, director of the Department of Homeland Security. He had the moral and legal obligation to challenge this because of the safety and security to the American citizen or the United States of America. Now,
do you think possibly that there was some input from the likes of and some arm twisting and manipulation from Valerie Jarrett?
Probably to Obama. She probably did a little arm twisting on President Obama.
Okay, so
but another person.
So there's no evidence right now that Jarrett was involved in these shenanigans.
None whatsoever. Not yet. But hey, hope springs eternal. Another person who should be held responsible is Chuck Hagel, because Chuck Hagel at the time was in charge of the Department of Defense. He was the Secretary of Defense. He also had a moral obligation and a legal obligation to challenge this trade. And again, also Mr. Steinberg. Mr. Steinberg, who was the deputy director of the State Department, sat in on these meetings. He was Hillary Clinton's go-to person. He was Hillary Clinton's messenger when it came to this. And if you sit there and you tell me that, let's bring this down to our level, not politics, not Washington, D.C., but our level. If I have an assistant and I tell him, okay, go to the meeting, and okay, just go to the meeting. And this is what I want you to do. A, B, C, D, E. Even if I didn't tell him to say or do A, B, C, D, E, when the meeting's over, I expect to have a meeting and a briefing on how that panel went. So if anybody were to tell me that Hillary Clinton was not being advised or being briefed on how these panels were going and how these CFIUS meetings were going, then I would say you're a fool. Because the one thing that woman is not, and that is stupid. Because any boss would make sure that their surrogate comes back and tells them exactly what's going on, because that's part of good management. Because being informed is vital to good management.
Now, is there any way of I'm going to use the term loosely here, legally to back out of this or reverse this without creating an international incident with Putin and Russia?
Hell no.
So this is a done deal that we're going to have to live with for probably forever, but at least for a very long period of time.
Yes. So if one of our cities ends up being a mushroom cloud, just look to Russia and say, What did you do with that 20% highly enriched uranium, by the way?
Well, they're unbelievable, folks. There you have it. So we've lost 20% of our uranium stockpile, and which we don't have enough of it ourselves. How the hell do we sell something that we import?
The company, it's an American company that's in Canada that they're mining the uranium. So the uranium is Canadian, but it's basically the mining rights are owned by this company. But I'm sorry, but what makes me laugh is, this is what really makes me laugh, okay? And that is, here we have a country that, due to Romanesque, because it reminds me of ancient Rome. Rome fell from the inside, not from outside forces. It collapsed from the inside.
Correct.
So we're going through this Romanesque type of backstabbing within our own government. And everybody's worried about Russia using Twitter and Facebook to influence a damn election. Serious? You've got to be kidding me.
Well, it's called obfuscation. Don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing while the right hand carries a very big knife and keeps stabbing you in the back. Yeah, well, another home run on this.
I call it too R-rated. Anyway, go ahead.
Another home run on this intel report for this week, and I know this is a lot for people to chew on. So the report is up on your Twitter feed. We're going to try to put that, download that to rodeccles.net a little bit later, so people can peruse this and try to understand this. But this is the evil that men do is just, and in this particular case, men and women, you include the Clintons.
Ladies and gentlemen, retweet, 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 and retweet. Spread this report out throughout the entire planet if necessary. This has to be read by the American people, by the citizenry of the planet. Everybody has to read this.
Yeah, because when it comes to nuclear bombs, it's not like it used to be where you just drop a bomb one place and that's where it stays. Now this stuff, it's pretty. It should, the accident in Chernobyl should have been a wake up call for the entire planet, but evidently not for the politically charged and politically motivated, and those who were politically motivated but also wanted a lot of money, like the Clintons. They don't particularly care. I guess they think that they're immune to any radiation fallout. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, my friend, have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Be safe out there. Make sure you have, go out there to some person in Washington, D.C. that's probably a former hack, and get them to taste your food first in case it's poisoned.
Yeah, nah. If I'm going to go, I'm going to go with a full stomach. So you guys have a great one. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you, Rod, and to all the listeners, and God bless.
And we'll talk to you again next week.
We'll be back, folks. I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people. You suck.
Agent 0010 mentioned legacy, Obama's legacy. I got a piece here, a story here, pulled directly from Twitter. About that has something to do with Obama's legacy, and this is with his wonderful daughter, Malia. Evidently, Malia has been caught on camera, video and still photography, at a making out with a, shall I say it, with a white boy, at a Harvard-Yale football game outside the Harvard-Yale football game stadium. But not only was she, tongue-wagging with her pale-skinned boyfriend, which I'm sure that Michelle Obama is just having fits over. But remember, Obama's half white himself, so it doesn't really matter in my book anyway. But not only was she making out with this young man outside the football game stadium area, but she was also indulging in puffing on what appeared to be a tobacco cigarette. Now, knowing Malia's past, maybe the cigarette was actually not of regular tobacco, but wacky tobacco. But in either case, she was out there smoking, making out and smoking in public. I am sure her parents are fit to be tied, especially seeing how, Obama was a smoker. He might be going back to smoking now. Who knows? But, you have to be an anti-tobacco user in order to have a good, solid legacy, and your children can't embarrass you this way. Is this an embarrassment, or is she just a regular American millennial?
It was just another quiet Saturday at the Johnson home.
Honey, have you seen the hammer?
It's in the garage.
Oh, no, not the garage.
Later that same day...
Dad, I can't find the bicycle pump.
Son, I'm afraid it's in the garage.
The garage?
Then the following Tuesday...
Howard, where's the car?
It's in the garage.
Does your garage look like a giant yard sale without the yard? Do you cringe at the thought of entering your garage? Then you need Crest Garage Cabinets. With one phone call, those wonderful folks at Crest will come out to your home, design the best combination of cabinets for you, and install them quickly and professionally before your very eyes.
It's a miracle.
And unlike other companies who ask for a down payment or money up front, you won't pay a penny until your Crest cabinets are installed to your satisfaction. So call Crest today, toll-free at 1-800-548-2848. That's 1-800-548-2848. And you'll never fear going into your garage again.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's going to explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound. It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
And welcome back. Hour number 3 already here on the Rod Eccles Show. The fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio is right here, powered by Zinc Media Arts. Glad that you are all here for this last hour of the week. No, we're not ending yet, so stop it. Glad that you're here for the last hour so far, or of this week. Here it is, Wednesday Hump Day. November number 22 in the year of our Lord of 2017. So it is actually acting as Freedom Friday.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, where just about anything goes, where I try to clear out as much of the physical and digital paper pile as I possibly can, while still covering some of the wonderful stuff that our government is doing for us and to us. Yeah, that I said that on purpose. They think that they're doing a lot of stuff for us, but in the end, it really turns out that they're doing a lot of stuff to us, and we don't really like it. Besides, we don't want to be too depressed going into the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Many of us will indulge or overindulge in things like turkey and apple and pumpkin pies and cranberry sauce and mashed taters, and corn, and there was, I had something. Again, this paper pile is just too big. I gotta come up with a better filing system for this thing instead of just calling it a pile. There was a story that I saw over the summer that liberals are just complete and total nut jobs. Did you know that there are some liberals out there that want to get rid of the Thanksgiving holiday because it's disrespectful and racist towards Native Americans? I kid you not. I hate to use the term. Go Google it. You will find the stories. This is idiocy. Thanksgiving is disrespectful and to Native Americans. We used to call them Indians. Remember that? Cowboys. They don't say cowboys and Native Americans. They say cowboys and Indians. I'm sure. Well, those old Hollywood movies, those old black and white westerns. Yeah, those were kind of racist, actually. I'm not gonna lie. They were kind of racist. And what's even worse is they had a bunch of white people painted up and dressed up to look like Native Americans. It didn't really, and they had Native. Well, even though most of those movies were shot in black and white, not color, they had Native Americans dressed in overly colorful regalia, just like the cowboys. It was the Old West was really not that colorful when it came to clothing and regalia. It really wasn't. It was kind of drab. The real stuff. If you actually look at real pictures that were taken from the day, with the old first cameras with the glass plates and everything, you would notice that the clothing was not exactly colorful. Even though you could tell it was not very colorful, even in the black and white film. It just really wasn't all that colorful. But yeah, be that as it may. Here we are on Turkey Day. Yes, we're all going to indulge in some turkey. So over this wonderful weekend, and you're actually the best part of Thanksgiving dinner is the leftovers. Oh yeah, turkey sandwiches, open-faced turkey sandwiches with lots of gravy. That's good stuff. Turkey always tastes better the day after. Oh yeah, I don't know why that is. It's one of those rare foods that tastes better when it's reheated versus when it was first cooked. Because everybody talks about things being fresh. It's fresh out of the oven. Well, turkey's better when it's a day or two old. Maybe that's just me, but it is. It is what it is. Hopefully you enjoy your turkey leftovers as well. Speaking of turkeys, we have something here from Donna Brazil. Yes, she's a big turkey herself. Yes, she is. Brazil is predicting. This is being reported by the Free Beacon. She was on MSBC's softball with you know who. I wonder if he's feeling any more, thrills up his leg lately since Trump's been in office. Chris Matthews. Chris, I feel a thrill up my leg, Matthews. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody's accused Chris Matthews of sexual harassment yet. Well, he is the one that said he felt a thrill up his leg. So I don't. Maybe it was Chris Matthews who was actually sexually assaulted. He didn't do the assaulting. He was assaulted himself. That's why he felt that thrill. Maybe he liked it. Any case, you have Donna Brazil. It was out there she was being interviewed by Chris Matthews, and she is predicting. Now remember when the Republicans had a field of 17 people? I think it was 16 or 17 people total. Real candidates, if you want to use that term. Not a bunch of outliers and people that had absolutely no chance of winning simply because they were not a candidate in all 50 states. They were like 2 states. So we're not going to count those people. But we had 16 or 17 real candidates for the Republican nomination 2 years ago. Well, Brazil is predicting that at least 25 people will seek the Democratic nomination in 2020. Now, that means that there is no cognizant thought or leadership at all, and the Democratic Party is in complete and total and utter disarray. Well, much like the Republican Party, the Republican Party isn't in disarray as such, as that the leadership is just weak and ineffectual. They're feckless. The Democrats aren't feckless; they just don't have any leadership. I mean, the people that you think that they would look up to, well, Clinton, she's under possible investigation, hopefully some sort of indictment sometime soon. There's all kinds of stuff that is just really slamming Hillary Clinton right now, so she can't lead the party. You've got Nancy Pelosi, who everybody would thought might be able to do some. She was a terrible leader to begin with, but now she may have some. She is exhibiting signs of early dementia. Her mind is shutting down. You've got what's his face from Colorado, who's retiring and going away. Thank God. And other than that, there's a power vacuum in the Democratic Party. There's no captain, guiding this Democratic liberal ship. Bernie Sanders? Pfft, are you kidding me? Bernie Sanders has sold his soul. He sold out to the powers that be. There wasn't. Yeah, I am now under the. I firmly believe now that all of you people who are Bernie Sanders supporters, you guys were rooked. You guys were definitely rooked. He took you to the cleaners. Seriously, he abandoned you at the first opportunity that he got in order, kind of like, what the Clintons did with the Uranium One. They got a lot of money. Bernie Sanders got some money for supporting Clinton, and then he went and bought himself another house for like $600,000. A third house, talking about rich people. So he sold you out. So I firmly believe that if Bernie Sanders were elected, there wouldn't be much change in the deep state government, other than he probably would have made it bigger. Well, no, he would have definitely worked to make it bigger. So there wouldn't have been a change like even the left wanted. Now, sure, he may have pushed for universal health care, but that's probably about all you would have got out of Bernie Sanders. There would not have been much change. And by the way, universal health care is a full-on Democrat Party type of thing, and it has been for decades. And if you miss Bernie Flank talking about how they were going to foist universal health care upon the masses of this country, then you miss some good stuff back in the early 2000s, because he's on record as saying it. Obama's on record, on videotape saying universal health care is the way to go. This is what we're going to eventually have to get to because we want to get to it. We're going to have to do it slowly. We're going to have to put Americans like a frog in a pot of comfortable water, and then turn up the heat and watch them fall asleep until we totally boil them. That's what Bernie Sanders wanted to do as well. He wanted to speed up the process a little bit more, but it's still nothing different from and everybody thinks that, well, Bernie was different. He was different from Hillary. Turns out he wasn't. So the Democrats have no captain, which is why Brazil is out there talking about possibly 25 people could be running. And one of those people, a lot of people are speculating, God forbid, but highly likely, because after all, Hillary ran for a second time, even after I thought she wouldn't do it. We could have Michelle Obama running. Well, no, why not have another former first lady run for office, the presidency? After all, who's more qualified than Michelle Obama? Michelle Obama she was such a graceful first lady, a beautiful, graceful first lady. And and her smarts are only second to Hillary Clinton. She was brilliant too. Michelle Obama was brilliant. And probably, only second in brilliance to Hillary. And she's a woman. And she's can you imagine? The first African-American female, a woman who's black, running for office. You know what the Democrats are probably going to do? Well, yeah, and you guys, Democratic men just should get out of the way. Because here's the ideal Democratic ticket. One of these scenarios. If they can convince, and I don't think they really have to work very hard to convince Michelle to run. If they can convince Michelle to run, you'll have her at the top of the ticket. Then they'll probably have to get some other female. And, of course, in order to appeal to the very racist Democrats out there, there'll probably have to be a white female. So you have an all-female ticket. Now, if they really wanted to get things going, and make real history, because they're all about making history, Democrats, then they would have Michelle Obama at the top of the ticket and have an openly transgendered woman run for as the vice president. Now, I know there are some people out there that think Michelle Obama is actually Michael Obama and is already a transgendered person. So maybe another transgendered person wouldn't be all that great. But okay, so you'd have 2 transgender people. And well, that would be interesting if Michelle Obama really was a transgendered woman, which I do not believe that she is. But what if she was? Maybe that's what the Democrats have to look for. They have to look for the first politically connected African-American transgendered woman. I mean, that would hit like 3 things all at once, right? That's the holy grail for Democrats. I wish they would run somebody like that. Well, why not? They're the blusterous from New York City is thinking of running. You got Marchetti, what's his, the Latino out there in L.A. I don't know why he thinks that he's qualified, really. And probably half a dozen other representatives and senators. I wonder how many of them are actually going to be able to run, though, because so many of them are being accused of sexual harassment and impropriety. I'm sure that's how, on both sides of the ticket in 2020, and don't doubt me that there are going to be people in the Republican Party that are going to try to take on Donald Trump. But that is how they're going to weed out the field in 2020. It is going to be who can no longer hide their sexual improprieties.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Speaking of all the sexual impropriety going around, and by the way, Nick Carter, the former, what is he? Is he a backdoor boy or out of sync boy? I can't keep them straight. In any case, Nick Carter has been accused of sexual impropriety. He's been accused of rape from a former fan. But there's other issues with all this sexual impropriety, and it has to do, according to a study, and understand that the wonderful environmentalist wackos are going to have a field day with this. Poor sperm quality is now linked to air pollution. Study finds a strong association between high levels of fine particulate matter in the air and abnormal sperm shape, but impact on wider fertility remains unclear. Well, yeah, because, abortion has a much wider and harsher impact on fertility, quote unquote, than misshapen sperm. But how did they figure this out? Did they have a bunch of test subjects, that ran around and breathed dirty air, and they had test subjects that ran around and breathed purified, clean air, and then they determine? Sometimes you got to wonder how they do these studies and how they figure this stuff out, or if they're just pulling stuff out of their asses. Yeah, pun intended. Well. I'm probably going to get hate mail from the LGBT community right there. But you gotta try to figure this stuff out. You gotta wonder where are they getting this stuff from? And who comes up with, hey, maybe we should just, we should do a study, and we should do some kind of study. I don't know what we should do. What do you think we should do?
I think we should study whether or not air pollution has an effect on the shape of male sperm.
How do they come up with this stuff? And who's paying for these studies? Well, we, the taxpayer, are probably paying for most of it. But anyway, there you have it. Air pollution is I thought the air was getting cleaner, by the way. Isn't that what we've been doing all these years, is, with all these environmental regulations and all these environmentalist wacko ideas and all the additional clean energy and green energy that we've been utilizing and putting online? I thought the air was getting cleaner. You can see the Los Angeles skyline now. They don't have smog alerts anymore out there. So how is it now that sperm is being affected when before it wasn't by air pollution? I'm just asking the obvious logical question. Now, I'm not saying that the study is fake or that it's not true. I don't know. I'm just asking the next logical question. How do they know? And if the air is getting cleaner, then how is sperm getting worse? Just asking. By the way, Facebook is still letting advertisers exclude users by race. And ProPublica is .org, where this story is coming from, is up in arms. They're upset. They're upset. After ProPublica revealed last year that Facebook advertisers could target housing ads to whites only, meaning they could target, not just whites only, but they could target the market. The company announced it had built a system to spot and reject discriminatory ads. ProPublica said that they retested and found major omissions. I don't have a problem with advertisers targeting their audience based on any type of criteria, even if it's race related. I mean, seriously. Okay, let's say you're a manufacturer of hair care products, and you make hair care products. For a lot of black women, they straighten their hair with certain kinds of products. Now, white women who already tend to have straight or fairly straight hair, do you think it would behoove that company to spend their marketing dollars on a bunch of white blonde women who have straight hair if their product is to straighten curly, kinky hair from black women? Yeah, but that would be racist to do that, I guess.
You might be surprised to learn who has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Nearly 1 in 200 Americans are suffering with a debilitating pain and constant disruption of these inflammatory bowel diseases, or IBD. Chances are you know someone with IBD. For example, your neighbor or coworker. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation was created to help patients cope and to find a cure. People with IBD can't wait. Won't you help someone you know? Visit www.escapethestall.com today.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? Shifting to a system based on primary care can help fix the problem. Patients with a primary care doctor live longer, healthier lives and are less likely to suffer from cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Primary care that is comprehensive and coordinated also saves money. Patients who have a primary care doctor spend 30% less on health care than patients who don't. States with a high number of primary care doctors have lower health care costs and higher quality care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Amazon's rainforest is being cut down so fast that by 2030, 55% of it could be completely wiped out. The Earth's forests can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Ah! Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. Did she? She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have.
Visit brainhealth.gov.
So yeah, it is now racist to properly target your potential customer or client. Well, I'm guessing if you're only marketing to white people, because it might be something that is, generally thought of as being a white product or service. That's racist. But I guess you can still, if you are a black company, you can still just market your hair product, hair straightening product to black women, because that's who's going to buy it and use it. Well, you never know. There might be some curly-haired white women that want to straighten their hair out. Well, they have products for their hair that work just fine. And there aren't that many of them. I'm just using that as an example. Well, and whatever happened to free association? I don't know. Are you gonna have some sort of advertisement? Are you gonna target black people to join the KKK? That's not funny, Rod. Well, yeah, it is, because that's how stupid and inane this type of idiocy is. They're going to, and Facebook is trying to build a platform that doesn't allow for what is going to be construed as discriminatory advertising. Is the algorithm going to be able to detect whether it's, a black-owned company that's marketing, hair straightening chemicals for the hair versus a white company who has it? Even though we're all human, now let's be frank about this for a second. Even though we're all human, there are some differences between different ethnic groups within the human family. Things are structured differently. It's why some people have blonde hair, some people have brunette hair, some people have red hair. Some people have thick hair, some people have thin, limpy hair. Some people have curly hair, and some people have just straight hair. And there's all kinds of different stuff in between there. And so you would want to eliminate certain groups of people who are not going to buy your. It's what targeted marketing is. You're going to eliminate certain groups of people who are most likely not going to be interested in purchasing your product and never will. It doesn't fit their dynamic of who they are. I mean, you don't see. Are you going to see gun companies that are going to go and market and target market to groups of people that hate guns? No. I mean, this has always been done, and it always will be done, because it is a logical need and necessity to get your product or service out in front of those people who are most likely to purchase your product or service. Now, whatever happened to free association? I don't know. What if you are a person that doesn't want to hang around blacks? Or what if you are a person that doesn't want to hang around redheads? Or what if you are a person that doesn't want to hang around Asians or Latinos? Are you telling me you don't have a right to associate with whom you want to associate with? I mean, hell, if you're a white person and you don't want black or Latino, brown people dollars, okay, I don't have a problem with that. Why should I give you my hard-earned money if you're just going to end up using it to continue to hate me? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. This whole notion that you can't advertise to people who you want to advertise to is just ridiculous. But this is the left, and they're real. It's not that there's a problem with the algorithm. I think with this this whole survey thing, I think what these people, these wonderful people from ProPublica are not figuring out, because their elevators don't go all the way to the top floor, is that there are people who are different. We are different. Even though we're still human, we are different. And that there is always going to be a need for, shall we say, skin color specific products and services. In that one has the right to, I don't know, sell their product and service to whomever they wish. Now, it doesn't mean just because you market, let's say, doesn't mean that that black hair care company isn't going to sell their product to a white woman who wants to buy it. They're just not going to market to her. Plain and simple. I mean, why would I want to get? These people, they drive me insane with this crap. L.A. NBC News is reporting that LAPD is investigating 24 sex crime cases tied to Hollywood. Los Angeles police are investigating 24 cases of alleged criminal sexual misconduct connected to multiple people within the entertainment industry. The cases involve individuals who are known publicly, as well as others who have not yet been identified. So my exhaustive list over there on rodeccles.net will grow, unfortunately. These allegations span from misdemeanor sexual battery to felony rape and child pornography and pedophilia. There are multiple complaints lodged against the same. In some cases, there are multiple complaints lodged against the same individuals, and so that these cases are moving forward with their investigation. 24 cases in L.A. alone. So this Harvey Weinstein thing is just the tip of the iceberg. We've just scratched the surface. Now the problem with this is that now that the left has figured out that they can nuclear weaponize this, that this is going to be a big weapon that is going to be used in the 2018 and 2020 elections. Mark my words, don't doubt me. There are going to be now. On a daily basis, I see one or more of Judge Roy Moore's accusers being debunked. More and more of their story is being debunked, meaning that these women have lied. Women wouldn't lie about rape. Really? We've had some pretty famous cases where women did lie about rape. And those young men's lives were ruined because of it. Just to bring up one case, the Duke Lacrosse case, how many of those boys who had their lives ruined because of false rape allegations? Quite a few of them, wasn't it? Wasn't there another case where there was a fraternity that the fraternity got expelled from the college because of a false allegation of rape? So yeah, it's not often that they do, but yeah, women do lie about rape. Everybody lies about crimes that are committed against them. Well, that actually weren't. I wouldn't say everybody, but there's it is possible and plausible. And it has happened in the past. So LAPD is investigating these nearly 24 crimes. Sex crimes tied to Hollywood. If you haven't seen the list, I mean, and there'll be more names added today. You're going to have to keep reading it on a daily basis. Well, probably not tomorrow and Friday because I won't be around to update it. But when I get back over the weekend, it'll be updated. It'll be updated later this afternoon as well. Some names to be added. And there are some females that have been accused that I haven't put on the list yet because I have to do some more research. I mean, I know none of these men and women on this list have yet as far as I know, none of them have been charged criminally yet. None of them have been found guilty of the current sex allegations levied against them yet. Many of them have denied the allegations. Some have apologized for the allegations, and a few of them have said, well, they either don't remember the person that's accusing them, or they don't remember the situation as the accuser remembers it. Yeah, Al Franken, anybody? I don't remember that happening the way she said it happened. So they're all innocent until proven guilty. But a lot of these people, mostly men, have multiple accusers. And after all, if there's one thing that we've learned from the left, right, is that, women don't lie about this kind of stuff. So that means if the 4 or 5 women who've accused Judge Roy Moore of sexual impropriety, even though some of them, about half of them, have been proven to be liars, then you got to look. Well, Harvey Weinstein is up to 100 women now have accused him, I guess. And his brother, I haven't seen Bob Weinstein being removed from the Weinstein Company or being fired, but there's a bunch of women that have come out forward against him. And I haven't seen a lot of there is some, and it seems to be growing slowly, but I haven't seen a lot of gay sexual harassment charges levied against many either out gay stars or closeted gay stars. There have been a few, but there is a growing. The Kevin Spacey saga is continuing. More men are coming forward against Kevin Spacey now too. I haven't seen any more come out against George Takei, Sulu, but who knows? There might be. I understand that there is I can't mention the star's name, but evidently there's a former child star, besides Corey Feldman, who is going to name a name of one of his childhood attackers. So you got to be careful. Speaking of which, I'm ticked at Twitter. Twitter is just one of those. They are so anti-conservative. Now there is a guy out there. Well, I'm assuming he's a guy because his moniker is Rob Roy. And I don't know if that's his real name or not. Probably not. But here's a guy that has tried to antagonize me for months, and I've always sparred with him and played with him, and until I get tired of his antics, and then I just sort of turn him off and tune him out. I just ignore him. But about a week ago, Rob Roy decided that he was going to follow up on all of this sexual allegation stuff, and I've never met the man. Don't even know what he looks like. Don't even know where he lives. Couldn't even name the state that he lives in. I don't care. But basically, he, like Al Franken, he thought he was being funny and accused me on Twitter of pedophilia. Well, now, I've never blocked anyone before for anything. Congratulations, Rob Roy is now the first. I reported the tweet to Twitter. Do you know what Twitter responded less than a day later after that without really investigating? Upon further investigation, we find that this is nothing different from the rest of your conversations you've had with him. Oh, really? Not once did either one of us accuse the other person of any sort of sexual impropriety in any of our conversations before, especially pedophilia. So their suggestion was, well, you can just block him. Well, so you're not going to take any action against this guy for leveling false allegations in this atmosphere. No. Now, how much you want to bet if I were a wonderful liberal talk show host growing in prominence in the liberal circles, and Rob Roy was a conservative, how much you want to bet they would have blocked and deleted and expelled Rob Roy? Just unbelievable. People have had their entire accounts deleted on Twitter for less than that. But hey, it's a war on conservatives, plain and simple. Speaking of a war on people, there is another mystery that is still running around out there that has people all up in arms now because I think, are we not supposed to be getting some sort of President Kennedy assassination stuff coming out, released pretty soon, government stuff? It must be, because every time, people start talking about, this commission or that commission or certain documents surrounding the former president, we start getting all these conspiracy theorist things that come back to light. Well, evidently, President John F. Kennedy's brain is still missing. It has been missing since 1966, 3 years after his assassination and autopsy. Evidently, there are people out there that are saying there's a couple of theories behind this, of why it went missing and stays missing. James Swanson, who is the author of a new book on the assassination of President Kennedy, suggests the president's brain was taken by his younger brother, Robert Kennedy, perhaps to conceal evidence of the true extent of the president's illnesses, or perhaps to conceal evidence of the number of medications that JFK was taking. Other theories are that the brain went missing because it would prove that Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot the president from behind, but yet he was shot from the front, thus possibly proving the notion of the grassy knoll shooter. And there are other theories too. Theories abound, conspiracy theories abound as to why the president's brain, which was removed during his autopsy and not put back in its head, but saved it for, it was preserved for National Archive. Why would you do that? Have it in the National Archives? It's kind of a little grotesque and morbid type of thing to keep for national posterity, don't you think?
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today.